Hi guys, and welcome to episode 8, I'm pretty sure.
Can you believe this is episode 8?
It's just gone so fast.
It's
so
nuts.
fast. Dakota,
Lan.
and we are on the DL. Today we want to talk about coaching. When do you need it? What is it? When is it useful? When is it detrimental?
Yeah.
I personally believe that a lot of people jump in too early. I think, as much of a bad rap as group coaching has, I find that it's really useful in, keeping someone accountable.
Yeah.
Creating that rapport. You have that one friend that you do the same class with.
Yeah.
You kind of like tag team each other.
And
for
also accountability.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that you should outgrow group training before you get a personalized training program.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you think? What's your thoughts?
I completely agree that people jump into coaching a little bit too early, and I think it can have a lot of detrimental impacts.
Mm-hmm.
Not because the coach is innately bad,
No.
but because if your first experience with any sort of structure is too structured, it's very difficult to have a healthy relationship with food and exercise because you see such a dramatic change in such a short period of time that you think that's the only way it can ever be, right? So you now have this association with I have to eat exactly like this and exercise exactly like that, otherwise I'll never look this way again, Also, it's hard for your coach if you've never tried anything. So if you've not done anything in terms of tried to plan your own nutrition, tried to plan your own training, it's very difficult for your coach to know what you're going to like, what you're not going to like, how to structure it for you, what's going to work for you, because what stimulus have you had, what stimulus haven't you had, so on and so forth. So there's some definite positives to having a bit of a play around and just trying some things. So I was going through my head yesterday and I came up with a few things that I like for people to have tried before they start working with me. Now, I was just having this little discussion with one of the members here at ProRaw. I don't consider myself a coach. So I'm a nutritionist, but almost all of my clients refer to me as coach. And it's just funny because I think it's blurred the lines. So people don't know the difference between a coach and a personal trainer. Or a coach and a nutritionist, so on and so forth. We're just all lumped in together as coaches nowadays, and that's confusing for people because how do you know what you want?
How do
I need a trainer? Do I need a coach?
What kind of training do you like?
That's it.
What kind of food do you like?
That's it.
I think I think people have a goal and they want to do whatever it takes to get the goal, but it's like, do you actually enjoy this training?
That's right.
Like for me personally as a coach, obviously having someone come in with a clean slate it's challenging, but it's not as challenging as trying to break someone's movement patterns.
From a functional perspective, trying to teach someone how to squat when they've never squat before is so much easier than trying to undo a crappy
3
squat.
years worth of
and reteach them how to do it properly. I don't think
100%.
there's any debate on that. But trying to teach someone to squat who's never had any movement practice is also really difficult because their proprioception is off and all sorts of things.
And just their overall strength. I've had a client who has come in from no training and failed a 20-kilo barbell.
Yeah.
That the strength just wasn't there.
That's it.
The training background wasn't there, and I think that's important. Training is obviously good for everyone for health benefits.
Absolutely, yeah.
But definitely, I think people jump on the bandwagon and they think they need a specialized training coach, a specialized nutritionist, when they just need to get in and kind of move. Yeah.
Exactly right. I've had many conversations with you and Zach actually about, yes, there are some fundamental movements that are necessary, but you've got to have some stuff in there that you enjoy as well.
100%.
Otherwise, you're not going to adhere to a training program, which is proof in itself that it doesn't have to be perfect to do the job, to do what it's supposed to do. Now, of course, things change when we're an elite powerlifter 4 weeks out from goal.
A little bit different.
But if you're the average everyday person that just wants to get stronger, wants to get fitter, wants to look more aesthetic, you don't need to go straight to that. Like, don't quote me on this, but you could jump online on bodybuilding.com, download a program and start. Get moving, get an idea of what you're doing, do some research for yourself, and then, you know, find out the things that you like, the things that you don't, and then seek out the coach that's going to be best suited to taking you to the next level in what you want to do, right? Because if you don't know what you want to do, you come in,
what are you getting a coach for?
That's right. You come in and see a coach, and the coach is like, all right, so I'm going to send you away, and you're going to come back in 2 weeks' time and tell me what you actually want to do here.
One of the things I do with my clients when I first get them on, whether it's nutrition or whether it's programming, I ask them, what are 5 goals that you want to achieve? What are 5 specific goals that you want to improve on or get better on? Could be anything. Doesn't have to be tied together. And if you're coming to me for a program and you can't give me 5 things,
that's right.
What can I give you?
Yeah, exactly right. Because if you just come in and say you want to get
strong,
we get that a lot, right, Dak? If you just come in and say you want to get strong,
just be toned.
Why and how? And like, you know, you can be CrossFit strong, you can be powerlifting strong, you can be all sorts of different.
And like, I feel like when people say they want to be strong, they don't actually realize what it takes to be strong.
That's it, and they don't realize that strength and aesthetics are separate things as well, which that's got to be one of the biggest things that we come up against is, you know, people thinking that if they train for strength, they're going to automatically get those aesthetics out of it.
Just put on a kilo of muscle mass in a week, done.
It's just different, guys.
I wish it was that easy.
Especially because a lot of your initial strength gains come out of learning the patterns, learning the technique, just the muscle being new to the movement, you know, all of these sorts of things. So you're not going to put on a bucket load of muscle. Particularly,
I'm still trying.
And particularly because most people don't come into it in a surplus, right? Like they're either eating maintenance or below, and expecting themselves to get super strong and super lean, super muscular super quickly, and it's just not going to work.
The connection between not being in a deficit and trying to get strong and build muscle mass is it breaks my heart. Like
it's horrible, isn't it?
I think people I think the issue is the education is there, so they don't know what the difference between a deficit and a maintenance does to the body, and what you can expect from your body.
Oh, absolutely, I think there's just such a push in the entire fitness industry towards deficit that spending any legitimate amount of time in a surplus or even in maintenance
it's terrifying
is horrifying for most people, which is a real challenge. Like, we face it a lot. My clients will tell you that I'm a big fan of getting people out of their deficits as quickly as possible and building their calories as high as I can, because it makes it easier in the long run for 100%. Them and me, right? Like,
100%.
It's easier to get you a really good result if you're really strong and if you're feeling energetic and you're feeling great.
Exactly. That's going to complement your training.
That's it. So we kind of put together a few quick things that you could start doing before you seek out a coach. Just really little things that once you start applying these things, you start seeing changes, you start seeing value, and then when you do seek out a coach, the coach is able to take you to another level. So yes, some people need a coach just to get the basics right, and that's okay if that's you. Right? That is 100% okay if that's you. If it's too overwhelming, if all this information is just too much and you need somebody to simplify it for you, go to a coach straight off. We're not saying that you can't. We're just saying that a lot of people are jumping to that space thinking that it's going to have all of these positive effects without first really just looking into the basics. So when we're talking basics, we're talking about eat in a deficit, eat in maintenance, and eat in a surplus, and feel what it's like. See what it does to your body. Understand what it's doing. Have a play around with tracking.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Do you like tracking?
That's it. And you can track in 101 different ways. So
many
try
different ways.
MyFitnessPal. Try a diet diary or a journal.
Yeah, writing things down.
That's it.
Being mindful, just kind of noting down, are you getting enough? But then obviously that's the education as well.
Exactly right. So you want to be thinking about all of these things. Then there's things like, rather than going from doing absolutely no exercise at all,
7 days.
A coach.
7 days.
Let's just do 3.
Yeah.
3's good,
Let's
right?
slow. Let's slow. I think, and that comes from the same mentality as, we want to do as much as we can. We want to work as hard as we can. And it's about pulling back and going, okay, you don't have to train 6 days a week. You don't have to train 5 days a week. You can train 5 days a week if you enjoy it and you have the time.
And if you've got planned rest and so on and so forth.
And if you're
can
recovering.
Do all of that.
Like, Mum.
Sorry, Mum. I'll call you back.
Mum needs a plan. No, like there's so many different ways to record how you eat, and it's about finding one that doesn't apply pressure, that doesn't turn it into, an addiction, a negative. And the same as training. I think a lot of people go to a coach without really realizing the commitment. Yeah. The relationship. Oh, yeah. Like, it's a relationship.
And it goes both ways, and we'll talk about that more in our next episode, I think, right? Yeah. So, really, what we're trying to get at today is think about what you can do first before you reach out to a coach, so that you have more information for the coach and so that you can get what you want out of the coach. Like we said before, yes, some people need it from the ground up, right? Yeah. Some people really need that guidance because of injuries. Completely, yes. That's the perfect example, actually. Yeah. So if you've got an injury that you don't know how to deal with, then seeking 100%. Out a coach, it's going to rehab you faster. You're going to be ahead of the game once you're rehabbed as well. Yes. You're going to achieve way more out of that. Yeah. But if you're just looking for a healthier lifestyle and you just want to move more, an
easy change.
That's it. Start with the little things. Reduce alcohol, reduce packaged foods. You do a good one with your clients where you make them cook at home for the whole week. So they're just not allowed to eat it.
If you didn't make it, you don't eat it. Yeah, so then it's like, okay, well, if I want pizza, I've got to make it.
That's it.
It's a lot of effort.
And it also teaches you what goes into it, right?
100%.
Like, so what's the clean version versus what's the dirty version? Just little basic things like that. You have no idea how much value that brings to your coach. And it also helps to stop you from having negative food relationships when you do work with a coach. Our job is to give you structure, guys, right? So to some degree, we are going to put you on a limited diet, right? Or we're going to put you on a limited program. We're not going to let you just do whatever you want. No. So because it's structured, it is going to have that feeling of restriction. And I'm sorry to all the If It Fits Your Macros coaches out there that hate me for saying this, but If It Fits Your Macros is still a form of restriction. You're 100%. Restricting calories. You're saying this is how much fat, protein,
rules. There are still rules that apply.
That's it. So all forms of planning are going to have a restrictive nature to them. If we can get you to have a better relationship with food before you have that restricted idea, then it's going to be much easier for us to utilize the structure where needed, but then also be able to give you the tools to mindfully eat afterwards and have that sort of 80-20 balance that everyone needs at the end of the day, because you cannot be on a plan your whole life.
No, and you shouldn't want to be. No. You shouldn't want to be. Like if the plan that you're creating, whether you found it on Google or you're just kind of trying to do it yourself, if you can't stick to it, it's not the plan for you.
That's
it's just not. Whether it's training program, whether it's a nutrition program, if you don't want to do it, you're not going to.
Because consistency is the key, right?
Yes.
If you train 3 times a week, but you do that every week for the next year, you're going to get great results.
Brilliant.
If you set yourself up to train 7 days a week and you do that for 4 weeks, then you're so exhausted that you can't train for the next 4 weeks.
No.
There was no point whatsoever in doing those 7 days a week for those first 4 weeks. It does nothing for you. So it's about having that balance before you go into the structure so that you don't form those negative relationships with food.
Yeah.
So many people have issues with disordered eating patterns these days, and we're actually going to have a guest on in a few weeks' time to help us delve into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But they are very real, and they really do need to be addressed. We need to start getting people to understand that there are things that they can do to minimize the chances of having these disordered eating behaviors. And I guess that's why we want to encourage you to build those relationships with food before you jump into this structure.
Yeah.
Even simple things like drink more water.
Yeah.
Amazing.
One thing at a time. One
You
thing
know?
at a time. Like if you can't make yourself do it,
Yeah.
then what's the difference of somebody else who you don't really know telling you the same thing?
Especially the basics, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, it's great to understand the whys behind these
Yes.
things. And yeah, a coach is going to help to fast track that, right?
Yeah.
So, yep, everyone, all of my clients, hi, you've all had the lecture about water, right? Everyone.
Yeah.
And the reason I do it is because once I can get you to understand the importance of the roles of
Yeah.
water in your body, you're more likely to prioritize
It's about the
it.
why.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. But that doesn't mean that you can't start working on those things before you get in, and then your coach can explain why it's so important.
Exactly.
Once you take that step,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the next step. So the next thing that we wanted to sort of go over is when to start looking for a coach. So you've started
Yes.
implementing all of these little things, moving more, eating better, drinking more water,
Yeah.
focusing on getting your fiber in, making sure you're eating less refined foods, da-da-da-da. Great. We've done all of these things, right? Now, what sorts of times in your, I guess, in your process or in your journey would you suggest people start reaching out for a coach?
I think so. In relation to training, I would say, when you kind of stop progressing.
Yeah.
So you've fixed your technique, or your technique's grown over time. So obviously the weight has as well. Technique's good. Now you've kind of added some strength, and you're finding that you're just not really getting anywhere.
Yeah.
You don't know what's wrong.
That beautiful P word, plateau.
Yes. Yeah. when you just plateau and there's no, and this is also training, but also I guess you could say in nutrition as well.
Yeah,
so
fat loss, lean mass gain.
Yeah.
Da-da.
So whatever your goal is, whether you want to lose weight or add muscle, or just kind of lean up a little bit. If you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm being really consistent. I'm eating those calories. I'm being really good. I'm looking after all those stressful factors that can alter it. But it's just not going anywhere. And it's like, well, I don't know what to do next.
That's exactly right. Perfect time to reach out for a coach, right?
Yeah.
Also, when you have a set goal in mind,
Yeah.
really
and you
good
don't know how to
time.
achieve it.
Exactly. Really good time to reach out for a coach. Like Dak, for instance, if someone's gone from just strength training for the fun of it to deciding that they want to do a meet,
Yes.
reach out for a coach, because there are so many things that you're going to need to know. Like even things like the rules and regulations, right?
100%.
It's hard to find all that stuff out for yourself when you've never been there before. Like, you don't know that you're not allowed to lift your butt off the bench when you're benching. So you're like, yep, this is totally fine.
Totally okay.
And so you'll fail out, but that's okay. Red lights aren't the worst thing in the world. But if you seek out a coach can take the stress out of it for you and often be there on the day for you as well, coaching you through it, depending on where you live and all that.
Yeah.
I won't dob Dak in to travel to America just to
if you're paying for the flights, let me know.
She's on her way.
I'm on my way. But you want to do a bodybuilding show?
Exactly.
Get a coach.
Reach out for a
100%.
coach, because
the athletic perspective, 100%.
It's taking your body past what it's designed to do, right?
Yeah.
So when we're trying to do that, we need that, both the physical and emotional support, right? Knowing that you have someone there to spot you
Yes.
is a huge
confidence
oh
boost.
my God.
Yeah.
You'll get an extra 10 kilos on your
Easy.
lift just because you've got that person.
Just get
there.
Lan to spot you. There's a 10-kilo increase right there.
Gotcha. That was my best Ali Aldo. But honestly, it really does. It makes that physiological difference because of the psychological impact, right?
Yeah, huge.
So the brain and the body, very connected, guys.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So what other times would you reach out for a coach? All right, so, this one, when you just need something taken off your plate. So a lot of the people that we work with are fairly, let's say, high functioning, right? So they've got 101 things going on.
Family, kids, work, full-time job.
That's it. They're juggling it all and they're getting through it.
Yeah.
But this is just one more thing to add to the list
add to the pile.
that they don't need to do, right? And so they say, all right, I can either take this on myself again and put more pressure on myself and risk completely crushing under the pressure.
Yeah.
Or I can reach out to a coach. They can take that element off my plate for me,
Yeah.
and that will allow me to put more time and effort into the things that really matter to me.
Yeah. Like, I personally definitely have the time to program myself.
Yeah.
But I won't. I won't. I'm just being honest. I won't.
Is yours the same reason as mine? I will just program what I like.
Yeah,
if
100%,
I program for
100%.
myself. Yeah.
Like, I'll do what I'm really good at and what I like to do, but not what I need. So, like, while I have the time, I know that it's just going to be a stress. So I'd rather pass the buck to somebody else.
Completely.
Just because I know I can do it doesn't mean that I have to.
No, exactly right. Yeah, that's it. So these are just a few of the reasons that we've come up with, guys, to sort of move towards that choosing a coach.
Yes.
So our next episode, we're actually going to go into a bit about how to choose a coach and what to expect from your coach and vice versa, because it's a two-way system. Most people seeking out a coach forget that.
Yes. Yeah.
They feel because they're hiring someone, it's all about them. And the thing is, the only good relationships in the world work when they go both ways.
Yeah,
so
100%.
We'll cover that in episode 9. Can you believe it?
Nearly 10. Soon it'll be 100. No.
Alrighty, guys. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time.
Good day.